Hi, my friends. Can we talk? I mean, really talk? There's been a lot that's been said about what happened at the Capitol on January 6th. There's still so much we don't know, and I'm neither a lawyer, nor a psychologist, nor a historian, nor anything else that might be helpful in contributing something new to the conversation. Now, that caveat aside, here are my observations. A lot has been said about the role a certain president has played in inspiring, or inciting if you wish, a mob to storm the Capitol, and about how much responsibility he does or doesn't carry for what followed the speeches that were given that morning, including, oh, he was just exercising his First Amendment right, or as far as he carries full responsibility for having contested the validity of the election results to the bitter end. By the way, just want to point out, he's been claiming election fraud since 2016 already for an election he won? So we could already see how his relationship with the truth is spectacularly less than stellar. But enough of that. I want to talk about us. You and me. And all of us average Americans in between. So from what I could tell, the people who showed up at the Capitol that day believed that Trump won the election, and that there was a great coup to steal his big win. Now, some part of that group actually believed they were there to stop the hijacking of the government and restore the rightful winner to power. Yeah, Sam Harris actually described the medley of characters we saw like a YouTube feed come to life, trolls and Vikings and all. It was a disorganized mess, all the more disgraceful because any real enemies watching that footage think, if only I'd known that it would be that easy to storm the halls of Congress. Maybe I just needed a Viking costume and a big protest to hide behind. All exhibitionists aside, and the neo-Nazis and other extremists who were there, I think we can agree that we also saw some pretty average Trump loyalists there, if there is such a thing. Although, admittedly, you have to be pretty disgruntled to be one of those who raided the Capitol. So, how did we go from opinionated and irate to grannies for Trump, storming the halls of Congress, and then taking selfies? You see, this is why I am having difficulty processing all this, because, you see, 74 million Americans voted for Trump for very real reasons, which I'm starting to wrap my head around. Many of them condemned the lawlessness at the Capitol, not all, but most, because many people on the political right have a strong sense of law and order. If they believe ideologically that rioting and destruction is bad, then they hold firm to that belief, no matter what, no matter who is rioting or what the cause is. No political violence is sanctioned. So I have to believe that what we witnessed a couple weeks ago was the absolute fringe of the extremes in Trumpistan. Another reason I draw that conclusion is because most people in this camp are the ones saying, Blue Lives Matter. So the idea of them clashing with the Capitol Hill police would be unthinkable, absurd, right? So how do we parse the footage from that day, except to assume that these particular rioters were just raving mad, imagining that all the authorities and institutions of the United States of America, judges, lawyers, police, think tanks, academia, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, Department of Homeland Security, politicians on the left and the right were all participating in an overthrow of a democratic election, and those people were willing to ransack their own capital for that belief. So what is more likely, that the richest country in the world with the most advanced technology and all the manpower it could muster for this most important of elections could not detect the significant voter fraud that Trump was claiming? Or that a man with a known penchant for lying and creating conspiracy theories, oh, I'll never forget my favorite one, Obama was not born in the United States, whipped people into such a frenzy for all these years and had them hanging onto his every word, as if he were the sole bearer of truth in this world. Well, I didn't mean to go on about that for so long, but the way I see it, this is where we end up when we can't escape our own personal echo chambers and agree on what is real and true anymore. We are living the info wars that Yuval Noah Harari talks about in his books. As we can see, the effects on society are devastating. And I have to personally recommend the Ground News app. It shows the same story from many different sources, sorted out by their biases. It's a really great app. I definitely recommend it. And no, I'm not being paid to say that. Maybe I should be, but... So, now I have a proposition for you. You know how you go to a family dinner and it's always taboo to talk about politics because otherwise it gets so heated? Well, I propose we put talking about important things back on the table, literally. Because, after all, what is politics if not things that are happening in the world? Not one of us lives on his or her own little island or on a cloud, as much as some people might wish it. We're all citizens of this world, this country, and as such, we're all affected by the happenings and ideas in it. I think our differences must be our strength, not our weakness. Every yin needs its yang. We have already entered the era of deep fakes, and everyone in the world has the capability to produce their own proof of whatever it is they want to claim. Seeing as many sides of the story as possible and using our critical judgment, plus a healthy dose of skepticism, is probably the only way to get the fullest picture and to get as close to the truth as possible. So we need to be each other's mirrors and practice being able to parse complex problems and difficult topics with civility. I suspect the more we maintain our silence in our most intimate settings, the more entrenched we become in our own echo chambers. And the more entrenched we become about our homogeneous ideas, the more divided we get, and the more things are going to keep erupting in the streets. So that's what I worry about these days. Maybe it's time for us to man up, or woman up, or whatever, and have the courage to get out of our comfort zones, and where, everyone agrees with you there, and thinks exactly the same way. I know that's easier said than done, but if we all commit to practicing civility and exchanging ideas in a civil manner, we won't be such a fractured society. You see, I entertain a romantic notion that most Americans are, in their hearts, quite civil, decent people, and in fact live somewhere in the middle of all the political spectrums. But unfortunately, only extreme points of view sell and get attention and ratings in the media. So we're only fed this version of the world or that one, where in reality, there are a whole lot more options on the table that we're just not hearing about. Complex problems require creative solutions. That's why we should want to commit to a life as a proverbial artisan, honing our craft and building things, not burning things down. Sam Rayburn said it best. Any jackass can kick down a barn, but it takes a good carpenter to build one. Well, anyway, that's my rant on that. If you just zoned out the last 5 to 10 minutes, the takeaway is this, guys. It's in our hands. No one person or president is gonna pull this country back together again. No one's swooping to our rescue. This isn't an Avengers movie. It's totally up to each and every one of us to practice civility and find some common ground with those people you don't agree with, because, well, frankly, failure is not an option. It's just not. So, anyway, that was my public service announcement for 2021. Now, if you don't mind, I'll go back to my Bach. But before I do that, actually, music is my craft, and I hope that since you're here, you like improving your musical skills too. So before we part ways, a song for all people to help people be their best selves. Because, you know, if we stand together despite our differences, nothing will drag us down. God knows what is hiding in those weak and drunken hearts. I guess you kissed the girls and made them cry, those hard-faced queens of misadventure. God knows what is hiding in those weak and sunken eyes, a fiery throng of muted angels, giving love but getting nothing back. People, help the people, and if you're homesick, give me your hand and I'll hold it. People, help the people, and nothing will drag you down. Oh, and if I had a brain, oh, and if I had a brain, I'd be cold as a stone and rich as the fool that turned all those good hearts away. God knows what is hiding in this world of little consequence, behind the tears, inside the lies of thousands slowly dying sunsets. God knows what is hiding in those weak and drunken hearts. I guess the loneliness came knocking. No one needs to be alone. Oh, singing, people, help the people, and if you're homesick, give me your hand and I'll hold it. People, help the people, and nothing will drag you down. Oh, and if I had a brain, oh, and if I had a brain, I'd be cold as a stone and rich as the fool that turned all those good hearts away. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the E-Flat Files. I hope to see you for a lot lighter ones in the future. So let's traverse lots of other beautiful songs this year. 2021 just started. I'm optimistic, and I hope you are too. I'll see you next time. Take care of each other out there. Cheers, 2021. This is just the beginning of something, probably a lot of the same